Have you ever heard an apology from your spouse and something just didn't feel right about it? Yes, they said sorry, but you felt invalidated or unheard, or the apology didn't feel like it was very truthful. Today on Marriage Unmasked, we're talking about unhealthy ways that we apologize to each other in marriage and how to change that.
Yeah, I mean, because how we apologize matters just as much as that we do apologize, right? It's not just this box to check, like, okay, well, I apologized, check. Now you should feel better, right? And many couples get stuck in pain, not because of the issue that they're talking about, but because of how hurt is handled afterward.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes it isn't handled, right? That repair doesn't happen, or that reconnection doesn't happen. And so that hurt lingers and it can turn into resentment. And I know for me, I struggled with apologizing, period, in our marriage because I didn't really understand what a sincere apology was. Like in my family, the only time anyone talked about that was just like my mom saying, go say sorry to your sister. And so it was like a check box, like say sorry. But then I think I rebelled against that. Well, I'm not gonna just say sorry. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because it's not authentic. You're not actually feeling sorry. Then why would you say the words? It's just empty words, and you're not about empty words.
No, no. I say what I mean.
Yes, yes, you absolutely do.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm often quick to apologize. I did all the time growing up, but it was not always sincere either. It was oftentimes just move past the problem. It was quick to say, okay, I'm sorry, but then you also could list off reasons or excuses as to why you're not necessarily fully wrong, and that's not healthy either. One example of this happening is I've come home late before. One of the first words out of my mouth is, I'm sorry. But then it's also followed by, but here's why I'm late. And I'll list off a bunch of excuses or reasons. I'll say that my intentions were good, and that's not a true healthy apology.
Yeah.
That's actually invalidating her experience and not really taking full ownership for how I hurt her and what happened.
Yeah. We're going to walk through this all with you. We're going to make it really clear. We're going to give examples of unhealthy ways to apologize. And the first one is, I'm sorry you feel that way, which
That's a classic.
Adam loves to use this one. I mean, and I don't want to point fingers at Adam because, like I said, I wasn't using a lot of I'm sorry's at all. But he was doing this a lot. Like, I'm sorry you feel that way. And it would just light me up.
It's like nails on the chalkboard, I think. And I think anybody would feel that way because it's like, what does that even mean? You're sorry that the other person feels a certain way. That is not taking any ownership.
Yeah, it's invalidating. Well, you shouldn't feel that way. If you choose to feel that way, that's on you.
Yeah, it is.
And if you honestly are feeling sad about a way they're feeling, then you can say, I'm sad you're feeling that.
Yeah, that's a much more honest way to say that.
Yeah, but if you're trying to take ownership of something and apologize, I'm sorry you feel that way, there's no ownership, and you're really just trying to escape discomfort of the moment, right? Like, oh, I can see that they're feeling upset. I'm sorry you feel that way. Okay, let's move on. But it just doesn't help.
No,
Yeah.
It doesn't help. And we hear that one quite often. I've heard that one on TV. I've heard that one in couples we're coaching. I've heard that a lot. And I've heard myself use it. And now I'm so much more aware of it. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I can catch myself when I'm about to say something like that and reframe it to say, well, I'm sad. Because a lot of times what we probably mean is, I'm sad that you feel that way. Like we want to express that emotion, but it's not an apology.
Yeah, it's definitely not an apology. Yeah. The next one is like, I'm sorry if I hurt you. Which if is the big word there, right? If it's really invalidating their hurt. Again, like, well, if they told you that you did hurt them, it's unhelpful to say, I'm sorry if I hurt you.
Yeah, because you're introducing doubt into that. That's almost like what you're saying is, I didn't really hurt you, or I don't think I really hurt you. Especially when they've already communicated that hurt to you. It's just not helpful to say.
Yeah, a better way is like, I'm sorry that I hurt you. That's taking ownership there.
Yeah. Another one is, I'm sorry, but almost anytime you use the word but I was just really stressed. Or, but this thing happened. You know, like when you throw an excuse in there right after the apology, it's really invalidating also to their experience. And it's actually saying you're not really sorry.
It's really making it all about you,
Yeah.
right? I'm sorry, but I was stressed. I was angry. Well, that's totally fine that you were stressed, and that matters too. But when you're apologizing to make it about you is not the point of the apology, right?
Absolutely. And that one's very common too. I hear that one a lot.
Yeah. And a different way to say that is like, I was stressed, but that doesn't excuse the way that I spoke to you.
Yeah, because that's such a better way to take ownership for that.
And then I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry for how I did speak to you. Yeah. And then another one is, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't have done that if you wouldn't have. Like an example is like, well, I'm sorry that I was disrespectful, but I wouldn't have spoken that way if you wouldn't have broken my trust again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
it's like a half apology.
Yeah, I'm
it's
taking
like a half.
some ownership, but I'm really blaming them.
Yep.
I'm really blaming. Well, it's your fault. It's actually your fault. But I'm sorry, but it's your fault. Right?
Yeah, it's like a half apology, really,
Yeah.
I would say. Another one is, why can't we just put this in the past? That's really not an apology at all. Basically, it's wanting to just move on and take no ownership. Okay, well, let's just close the door on that as if that didn't happen at all, and we're just going to move forward regardless of how you feel about that, regardless of the aftermath and the effects of whatever, wrong was done. We're just going to shut the door. Let's just move on. And I know I've heard a lot of guys do that. A lot of guys, because apology is very uncomfortable. And if a guy's really uncomfortable with that whole situation, he doesn't want to deal with it, he doesn't want to get into that, he just wants to shut the door to it. And he's like, well, why can't we just move on? I just want to move on. Like, why can't we just get past this? Like, I hate talking about this. I don't want to do this. Again, that's all about you then. It's all about what you want, and it's not actually apologizing at all.
And if you're on the other side of that, it can make you feel like you're crazy for wanting an apology, right? Like, well, maybe I should just move on. Maybe I should just stop bringing this up. Maybe my hurt doesn't matter, but it does matter. And repair and a healthy apology is part of that, and it is important. And then when you say, I've seen this one in you.
Okay.
And I think other men definitely will relate as well. And I'm sure some women, but in our marriage, this is one you've struggled with is, I'm sorry, I'm a horrible husband, right? You go into this shame spiral. Well, I'm sorry. I'm just the worst wife ever. And it's coming from this very hurt place. Like you yourself are hurting, but it does not help to go into this shame spiral, because really then again, you're making it all about you. And you're kind of stuck in this victim mindset of like, poor me, I'm just the worst husband in the world. And then your partner feels like they need to bring you up, they need to rescue you from your shame spiral. And because you're really turning it all about yourself. It's about me, poor me, I'm the worst, I'm horrible, right? And a shame spiral, it's not going to help. It's not a healthy part of a relationship. It's not going to help move that relationship forward.
And I think for me, often it probably sounded like, I'm sorry, but I'll just never be good enough. I'll never be good enough for you. And that is exactly that. It's just that shame spiral again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard you exactly say the word. I'm sorry, I'm a horrible husband.
Probably.
Well, I'm the worst husband.
Yeah, I'm sure I have. I'm the worst husband ever.
We watch some of these shows like Love is Blind or whatever.
Some of these relationship shows, you can really see this dynamic play out in some of these.
Well, and what we don't realize is, if someone recorded us, if someone was recording our arguments, if someone was recording our apologies, we would probably have a lot of aha moments. And I don't even think we sometimes realize what we are saying. Like, you may not remember saying, I'm sorry, I'm a horrible husband, but like, I remember it. And I'm sure, I don't remember certain things about how I've apologized and you do. And it's, sometimes that reflection is key. I mean, I wish we could rewind the conversations back.
Yeah.
But we can't, and maybe that's okay too, right? Because you're probably not going to feel good about it.
Not a healthy place to go.
Yeah, especially if it wasn't a healthy conversation, which a lot of ones that get heated, that's a whole other conversation that we talked about in a different podcast about the healthy conflict that saved our marriage.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was an important one, but
yeah.
And then there's the sorry that like the quick sorry, like Adam was talking about earlier, where it's just like, oh, I'm sorry, and then like let's move on. But really, when you just say it quickly like that, it's like the check the box thing, like. Okay, well, I said sorry, so why don't you feel better? Like you should just feel better now. But
Yeah.
where's the curiosity where it's like I do want to hear more about what happened. I want to know what you're feeling so I can apologize for the impact of what I did or said and what I did or said, right? There's more to it than even just the words or the action in the moment. It's the impact that we can also find out about and take ownership for as well.
I think a sneaky thing we sometimes believe is that the saying "I'm sorry" is like a magic word.
Yeah.
That should just make things go away. That should just heal and repair everything. And just saying the words "I'm sorry" is not a magic word. It's just the start. And then it's the ownership. It is like Kara said, it's digging into this and why this happened and processing through the feelings of what happened and validating those feelings in the other person and all. I mean, it's a much bigger work than just wave the magic wand and everything's better just because I said sorry.
Yeah. I remember one of our date nights and we did this. I don't know if this was like from a date book that we did or what, but I found this quiz and it was like what your apology language was, which I had no idea there was such a thing.
That's right.
And maybe they kind of made this up to be a thing. I don't know. But anyways, it was actually very eye-opening for us because I don't remember what yours was, which I guess that doesn't say much about me.
Well, I would need a refresher too on.
I think yours was I think yours was like a sincere apology.
Yeah.
And mine was an apology where you take ownership and talk about how you're going to do things differently.
Yeah, like a plan moving forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which that is so important for me. And that I think maybe one of the reasons why it has been important for me is just because in our marriage, trust has been broken. And so it doesn't help for me to hear over and over again. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll do better.
Because those are just words then that don't
Right.
mean anything.
Right.
There's no action behind them. There's no weight to them. Like the weight of actual action taken is what will change that whole dynamic.
Yeah, and so it was painful for me to hear, I'm sorry. And then he thinks, okay, what? I did what I was supposed to do. I said sorry. And I'm like, there's no plan. You're just going to do this again. And then you're going to say sorry again. And this cycle is going to continue. And so what I really needed was, here's what I'm going to do differently going forward. And so that can be a really important part of an apology as well. And, the repair and the reconnection, these things are key when you are apologizing, to have in mind, like, I want to repair what's been hurt here or what's been broken. And let's get back to this place of connection.
Yeah.
Having those things in mind is going to help you. We don't want to try to give you, here's exactly what to say to apologize in a healthy way, right? We want it to be sincere for you in the moment of what you're going through. But when you think about, I want to repair and I want to reconnect, that will be a good guide for going forward.
Yeah, reconnection is always the goal. If you look at all these unhealthy ways to apologize, it actually disrupts the connection further, or invalidates or hurts the other person further. You're actually it's drawing you guys apart instead of drawing you guys together. So you can creatively apologize as long as you're drawing closer to each other, as long as you're bridging that gap and making connection the focus again.
And we have a couple key things to help you do that, to help you when you're thinking about how do I want to repair and reconnect. And the first thing is to take ownership. And we've talked about that a couple times already, right? Like that's a big key, because when we don't take ownership and we instead deflect or we blame or we make a bunch of excuses, that's not helping to repair. That's really putting the focus then on the other person who's already hurting. And so that's just not helping to repair what's been hurt. Also empathy. That's another big key. that comes out a lot in validating, letting them know, like, I see you in that matters to me.
Like how they're feeling is important to you.
Yeah, you care about that. And then another key is to commit to change, which we were just kind of talking about. Really commit to going forward differently, and not just saying that you're going to go forward differently, but this is a sincere desire of yours and you're coming up with a plan on how you're going to go forward differently. That's just so powerful in a relationship. I mean, how many couples are fighting about the same stuff over and over and over? And part of that is because they're not committing to change, right? There isn't that change happening. And so that's really helpful. And then another big key is to have patience, right? Have patience with your spouse's healing and their process. Because even if you did apologize in a really healthy way, you took ownership, you were empathetic, right? You committed change. It doesn't mean that the light flips on for them and now they feel magically at peace.
Exactly.
With you.
So don't expect that necessarily. So don't come into it expecting, well, I'm going to apologize really healthy here. And when I do, this is what's going to be the result. You have to have some awareness and patience and grace with your spouse, because even a very healthy apology could be used as sort of like a magic word, like, okay, now things will be better. And it may not always exactly work out that way in actual fact with what your spouse is going through in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you're showing up with these key things, that will happen. That reconnection will happen. It's just to be respectful of their process. The other night, Adam was upset about something. And I was like, what can I do to help? And he's like, just I'll get over it. Right. And so
just give me some space. I think.
Right. And so he had to process what he was going through, and then I can just let him process that. I just want to give an example. I think that helps me to hear. It's like, I see how my words made you feel small, right? Sometimes my words have made Adam feel small. Absolutely. And so, like, I see how my words made you feel small, right? I'm taking ownership. I'm seeing how he's feeling. And then I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I said those things, right? I'm taking ownership again. I love you for you. Letting them know that was not how I really feel about you. I love you for all of you, right? And I'm going to change how I speak to you from now on. And then I don't need to, like, necessarily lay out my 3-step plan for that. Yeah. But maybe I need to, right? If trust has been broken.
Yeah, especially like in my situation where, I mean, I really do need to give a plan. Or at least promise to give a plan. Like, maybe I don't have it in the moment. I may need a little bit of time to come up with a plan for how I'm going to show up different. But to promise that and say, okay, by this time tomorrow, I'm going to have a plan, and I'm going to show you that plan for how I'm going to be doing the things differently so that this doesn't happen again.
And to be clear, you're talking about because you've broken trust, and that's why it's important for you to have
absolutely,
a plan.
absolutely.
Yeah. If there's been trust broken, it actually can be really helpful to share your plan. So, healthy apologies create safety. I mean, I'm working with a wife right now who feels so unsafe in her marriage that she's struggling with wanting to be intimate with her husband. And I know this is a dynamic that happens a lot, and I know this is not the point of the podcast, but I just want to talk about it because a lot of times I think we undermine safety in our relationships, but safety affects everything. If you don't feel safe in your marriage, then you don't want to, as a woman, you don't want to open up. You don't want to, and opening up means sex. It means femininity. It means, sharing your heart. It's all the different parts of intimacy.
Yeah, and that's actually very true for a man too. I mean, we don't often think about that the man needs to feel safe in the relationship, but he absolutely does. In order to open up to his wife, in order to share his inner world and his feelings with his wife, he has to feel like she is a safe place to bring that side of him, or else he's going to put up a wall and there's going to be disconnection instead of connection there.
And healthy apologies help to rebuild trust as well. And they signal that your heart, right, your spouse's heart, it matters to me more than being right. Because a lot of times, isn't that what ends up happening, is like this right wrong thing, and the ego gets involved.
And
And
it's a blame game then, and you're just throwing stones instead of actually repairing what's wrong.
and so that's why healthy apologies really are so important. And we talk a lot more about communication, healthy conflict,
Forgiveness.
we have a whole module in our Healing Your Marriage course on forgiveness. So
Yeah.
this is all stuff we talk about deeper. And in the inner healing part too can really impact this. It's not just this kind of surface level apology. If you're struggling with this, it could be because there is really some healing that needs to happen.
Absolutely.
And those things, we talk about all those things more in depth in our Healing Your Marriage course, which you can get for yourselves as a couple, and you can go through it over and over again for the rest of your marriage if you want to. It's also something that the wives in my Restored membership, they get with for no additional charge while they're in Restored. And so that's just a really nice bonus in there as well. And you can go through it, together with your spouse, or you can do it separately. You don't have to go through our course together. If one spouse is not willing, or they're not putting the effort in, don't let that hinder your growth and your healing. Because God has so much beautiful growth for you, so much healing for you. He wants that for you so much. And it's so powerful. It's really so impactful.
Yeah.
It's amazing how Adam and I have changed, even in this one area of apologizing, right? We have changed so much.
Yeah, we really have. Because
As
there's years of unhealthy apologies going on here.
As we've healed, we have understood this important need for safety and rebuilding and repair and all that. So it really does impact all the different parts of your marriage that might be really painful right now.
Yeah.
That healing is so important.
Absolutely.
So we hope that this was helpful. Maybe brought up some good conversation topics. Maybe it brought you a laugh or two. We hope so, because it definitely brought us. Sometimes you can laugh about these things afterward, right? You think back and you're like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe that's the way I used to apologize.
It doesn't feel good in the moment when you're actually in this situation, of course. But after the fact, you can kind of be like, wow, awareness is so powerful.
Yeah. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. If there's anything that you are like, I really wish they'd talk about that, let us know, because we want to talk about the things that matter to you, that you're going through. And we hope this was impactful for you.